I
Tell
don't.
them your story,
Okay.
not my story.
Okay.
You're better at telling the story than I am.
Okay,
You go
so
right
I'll
ahead.
tell the story.
Well, we got to know each other at church. We both sang in the choir.
I was working on my second contract on the cruise ship, the Pride of America, that circles the Hawaiian Islands. And I was a bar waiter. And I was also the davit operator on Lifeboat 7.
So as I was walking up to the checkout line, I noticed there were two checkout counters. And I thought, why are there so many people in this line and none in the other? So I leaned forward, and I thought, no wonder the guys in this line. She's beautiful. And it was Jen. So she checked me out, and later, I just couldn't forget her. I thought, gosh, she was so pretty. So I started going over to Kmart periodically, just to buy
Periodically,
something.
like every time I worked, which was about 4 times a week, this
Yeah.
guy had more deodorant, more toothbrushes,
Toothpaste.
toothpaste.
I knew her at least a year before we even started dating. She ended up at one time was dating my best wrestler. I took him home with me, and we worked out all the time for several weeks, and then went down to the national tournament where he was an All-American in the Junior Olympics. On the way down there, I kept asking him. I said, just looking for things to talk about. And I said, well, how are you and Shirley doing? And he goes, Coach, I don't know if that one's going to work or not. And I said, Roger, really? And he said, yeah. I said, Roger, I would work at that. I would make that one work.
I was standing there waiting for the drill to start, and we had to stand where the lifeboat was. And Stephen, he came up behind me and he tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around, here he is, 6'4", and he goes, hey, are you Lifeboat 7? And I said, yeah, I'm the davit operator. He goes, hi. He goes, I'm your new lifeboat commander, and vice commander. And I said, cool. I said, nice to meet you, new, vice commander. So we started talking as everything was going on. After that, because he had just gotten back on the ship, I started seeing him everywhere. I mean, in the elevators. I liked his personality. He's outgoing and upbeat and very happy. And one day I was walking to lunch, and I noticed that he was uncharacteristically down, right? So I go up to him and I said, hey, what's going on? And he told me the story that somebody that he really liked had stood him up for a date. And I felt bad for him because he's such a nice guy, right? So I felt really bad for him, and I said, well, if you ever want to go on a hike and you need a companion, I will be more than happy to go with you. Just as a friend, because I'm older than he is, and I wasn't looking for anything on the ship at all.
And one day after choir, my cousin finagled us to ride in the car with him, and that's the first time. And there were 4 in the front seat.
There was one we could sit close together that way.
Right, that's what I said. We kind of got pushed into a relationship. It was love at first sight.
Well, maybe not quite, but
I met Renee back in late 1991. I was walking down the hallway. She was coming my way, and I stopped and asked her if she knew a friend of mine that had the same last name as her at that time. And she gave me a very blunt no.
No.
We worked at underground vaults and storage. We walked those hallways for over 25 years.
underground.
Underground vaults, 25 years, and
650 feet underground. We were the first and only married couple that they allowed down there. We had to get special permission
since then they don't
to get
allow.
married. Because I thought there might be conflict at times, and we never had any conflict, never fought, and never.
I was 16 and he was 18 when we started dating, And, but we took it pretty slow.
3 years till we got married.
Yeah. But he's really a good letter writer. He expressed himself really well in letters. I remember that, you know, and sometimes when we were not able to be together, maybe once every 2 weeks or so, he'd write, and he wrote wonderful messages. You remember that, writing together?
Well, I remember getting your letters. I don't remember what I wrote.
Well, yeah, that's it. You remember the ones you get more than the ones that you send. Either he came over Valentine's Day or the night before. I think it was the night before. And then he left a box of chocolates in the mailbox. And I really think my dad found them and said, "Carol, what have we got here?" And we lived out in the country. And so I thought, oh, this is nice.
Well, I remember that story a little different than you.
Well, you can tell it your way. That's all right with me.
I don't think I had seen you the day before, but I had the car somehow to go to college during the day, and I went during the day and put that candy in the mailbox.
Oh, I bet that's true. Yeah, if you were there the night before, you would have given it to me.
There you go.
Cool.
So, yeah, took effort on my part to scheme that.
Yeah, that was 7 miles out of town, too, so.
But I could never really establish a conversation with her because she was always so busy. There was always a line in back of me. So I decided one day, I'll go over there with a note.
Well, you gave it to me, this piece of paper, and I went because I was busy, and I threw it in the trash. And as he left, he bumbled himself all going through the door.
Well, no, as soon as I gave it to her, I turned, because I wanted to get out quickly, and almost ran into 2 elderly women who were walking by the counter.
Yes. They got the note out of the trash and said, "This is for you. You shouldn't have thrown it away, you know." And I read it. Oh my God.
And in the note, I told her that I would like to. What exactly did I say?
You're asking me, like 29 years ago, exactly what that note said.
Well,
It said, if I wasn't leaving the country, coming into the country, if I wasn't married, which I was.
or if you weren't going with somebody.
Yeah. Would you call me? You know, I have never called a guy. I called him, and I don't know why I did. I said, "Where do you live?" And when he told me, he lived about 3 houses and across a field from me, not even more than 2 blocks. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I invited him over to my house. And we hit it off. We talked for hours and hours and hours. It was just amazing.
Okay.
We were just friends on the ship, and I was not going to date anybody on the ship. That was not the intention of being there. I was having a blast. I'm on the islands. I'm, getting ready to go. I was actually on my vacation going to go to New Zealand and Australia on my own. He was hanging out with this girl named Tina that was about 10 years older than him. And I said, "So do you have an age limit on what you wouldn't marry or get involved with?" And he leans back, and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I don't think I would marry somebody that could be the age of my mother." I was like, okay, well, I'll just be vague from this point on.
Well, because you do have these preconceived notions in your head of, oh, I would never be with anybody that much older or that much older, whatever it is. Again, just going into society norms and stuff, and you just could never picture yourself with somebody that age. But then when you get to it and you meet somebody that you have such an incredible compatibility with, age just goes out the window. It doesn't matter at all. It's, who cares? And if you asked me 5 years ago if I would be with somebody 20 years older than me, I would have laughed in your face. But, here we are, and I couldn't be happier. So
Yeah.
Very, very diverse viewpoints, very diverse background. He grew up in a city, was surrounded by cement. I grew up surrounded by hay bales and grass and home cooking. Yeah, we couldn't have been really more different.
She likes everything out of the garden. I like everything out of a can.
But it's been good.
It's been wonderful. I really want you to know that. It has been wonderful.
Yes.
And I think it has a lot to do with age.
We wish we would have met each other years and years before we did actually meet.
So when it comes to marriage, just say, hey, no big deal.
It's like
Let's
jumping
do
off
it.
the cliff, and I'm the one that's, you know, cautiously approaching the cliff going,
Not too sure.
I don't know. So that's how I
Let's
went
do
into
it.
the marriage kind of thing.
We kind of got pushed into a relationship.
Right then.
And it worked real fine.
She's just everything to me.
As he is me.
Well, from the heart.
You got teary.
Oh,